What is going on, football gamers out there? And today we have the January development update for Varsity High School Football. Varsity High School Football is a game being developed by Pyramid Lake and Spear Interactive, and the current release date is when it's done. Varsity High School Football looks to capture the essence of high school football, an area that no other gaming title or IP has tried to accomplish. But without further ado, let's get right into these development updates. The first one is Dynasty, multiple seasons. Says you can now play multiple seasons with your selected team. We do not have a hard limit in place for number of total seasons right now. So, I don't know if you can go 30, 40, 50 seasons. They're still nailing that down. The next bullet point is at the end of the season, players will graduate, coach prestige will change, job offers will be available, and underclassmen will increase their ratings and make decisions on their future. That will be the interesting part with this game. So we go to the next thing that they have here, which refers to Dynasty and other sports boost. This is where it gets pretty cool at. And the first thing they say is the risk of coaching a larger school is losing players to other sports in the off season, losing out on training, and potentially getting injured. I can tell you from my history as a coach, this is a real thing. You're always worried about some of your star players who are dual athletes. Some of them are good at both basketball and football, wrestling and football, baseball and football, you name it. And there's always that risk that your star player might get injured participating in another sport. Now, the next thing they have is now each sport has their own potential ratings boost to add value to players that choose to play other sports. The boost will depend heavily on the player themselves. So that goes hand in hand, risk and reward. Some of your star players, you want them to just focus on football, but some of them, you got guys that are tremendous in football and basketball, and there's a lot of crossover between a lot of sports. Like we used to always encourage our linemen to participate in wrestling, and we would also, like for our quarterback, to participate in baseball. Most of your best quarterbacks are baseball players or played baseball. So a lot of interesting stuff that they're bringing to the table in this game. Now we move on to the next development update, which is Dynasty off-season UI revamp. They're trying to, make that look appealing because that's one of the things that you're staring at the longest when you're involved in Dynasty. So you have to make sure that the UIs look correct. And they go on to say, we've implemented the final art direction that was used in the regular season UI and updated original prototype UI elements from the off-season experience. And they have Dynasty weekly XP recap and UI. At the end of each week, we now showcase any financial changes, the current state and national hype levels, state and national fan counts, and more. So I guess we'll have to see what that looks like. And we'll move on to the next update, which is Dynasty performance updates. With multiple seasons in place, we now have to calculate player changes, rating decisions, to play other sports, graduations, moving districts, etc. at the end of the season for all players. So just from what I said, you can imagine this is a little bit of an enormous task, and we'll see how they handle it. There's a lot of variables there. You're talking about other sports, graduations, moving districts, and updates for all the players, at the end of, multiple seasons. This originally took 6+ minutes for your team's state. Now, about 30 seconds, which is awesome. Performance update 92% faster. So that brings us to the next playtest that they will have available. Signups will be available from February 1st, which was yesterday, all the way until the end of February, which will be the 27th. Well, actually, one day before the end of February. And they'll have playtest selections on the actual end of February, which is the 28th. What's going to be included in this? Mini camp mode, the QB, which has been available in the last 2 playtests. Multiple Dynasty seasons, they will be simmed. And this is a new addition. And out-of-district games, which is cool. Like, this right here is what's going to divide it from everything else and make it its own thing. When you're playing a college game, you know, you're all dependent on national recruits, you know, where you can go, where your pipeline is. In the pros, you're looking at the draft, you know, what's your draft position. In high school football, you're pretty much locked down to the size of your city or your area. And unless you're a Catholic school or a private school, you know, then you can go out and get players from around other areas in your vicinity. But to me, that is what is going to make this game interesting, challenging. You know, are you going to try to go to these little small towns and turn them into a state power, which is very difficult, very difficult. I've coached everywhere from teams that had a cow pasture as their home field to the larger schools that had, you know, the artificial turf, the stadiums that hold anywhere from, you know, 10,000 to 14,000, which is large for an average size high school in the area where I'm from. They'll also have weekly player awards, postseason playoffs. They will also be sims. So they're really taking their time. They're doing a lot of motion capture. I know they have been doing a crap ton of motion capture, and that's very important to make sure you nail things down, make them look correct. Here's a little screen that they shared with everybody. It was a week 3 recap. You know, it shows you the hype, shows you the fans, shows you the finances. I'm sure that there will be tweaks to this. It doesn't look awful. Looks a little bit bare, but a lot of people like the simplistic look of things. And as it looks right now, very easy to navigate, very easy to digest. So I will say this once again, this game has no release date. So, you know, for the people who keep on spamming that in the comments, there is no release date. This is a work in progress. It's coming along very, very, very nicely. I've been staying away from speculation, and I think that everybody else should be trying to stay away from speculation until they actually release some concrete information on which direction that they're heading with this game. But they have dropped little nuggets to let us know that they are really looking to capture the high school experience. That is something that I'm looking forward to, something that I feel that has been missing from the whole football landscape. Nobody has tried this. You know, we've had multiple iterations of college games. We've had the Blitz the Leagues. We had the NFL Streets, but we have never had the high school experience. So, guess that's it for right now. So until next time, it's been Smokin' Jay, and I will see you either in the ring or on the field.